I don't know if y'all watched the 22 push-ups a day challenge that people are doing on Facebook. They do the push-ups to commemorate and bring awareness to the 22 vets that die from suicide each day. And I think the statistic is about 2/3 of those have also been affected negatively by the family courts. I'm fixing to bring up Scott Mumford. He's from the Houston area. He's a Iraq War veteran, and he's got some groups that help with these veterans. Come on up, Scott.
I want to thank everybody for coming out first and foremost. My name is Scott Momper, Sergeant, United States Marine Corps. 2005, I was injured in Iraq. I've had 14 total surgeries. The VA says I'm 80% disabled. None of that means anything to me because the most important title I've ever held in my entire life is Dad. Daddy. As a vet who bled overseas to provide a better life for my children, that is one of the proudest things I've ever been able to say. When everybody asks, well, why did you do it? So that my children would have a better life. And I never worried about my rights because I stood up for them. I fought for my rights. I mean, after all, I'm a Marine. My rights are protected. Until my marriage went south. Then I went into a court and I was told that my money is sufficient for my children, but me as a person, I'm not. Never been convicted of anything. Was never asked what type of father I am. They didn't ask how many softball games I've attended or coached. They didn't ask how many cheer competitions I've been to. They didn't ask what my daughters wanted. They said their mom is the most important person, not you. And the first night I sat home and I said, how is this possible that I can do everything that I've done to protect my children and to provide for my children, and yet now I have no rights? I have to pay to visit my children. My children have always been the most important thing in my life. There is nothing I won't do for my children. I would have died for my children if that's what it took. The Lord blessed me and let me come back. Has got me here for a reason, and no different than 7 o'clock this morning when my kids called me and texted me and said, good luck today, Dad. That's what it's about. So the question that I have is, why us? Why our rights? In a day and age when everybody's rights are protected, in a day and age when rights are every single day in the topic of news, this person's rights, those person's rights, this group's rights, those groups' rights. Well, the most basic right that I ever had was when I was called Dad. That's my right, to raise my children. You know, no matter what happened between me and their mother, I'm still their father. And at what point did those rights end? Because it didn't end when I was in Iraq. It didn't end when I was in the hospital. It didn't end 2 days before the divorce. And it shouldn't end now. Those are our God-given rights. And if every other right out there is protected, then why is the fundamental right of being a parent not protected? I don't want 100%. I want 50-50. I want to be just as much a part of my kids' lives as I want their mother to be. To me, that's common sense. To me, it only makes sense that we start with 50-50. Don't get me wrong. I'm well aware that there's a large handful of men out there who aren't deserving, and there's a large handful of women out there who aren't deserving. But those should be the exception, not the standard. Right now, the exception is 50-50. In less than 5% of all divorce cases is 50-50 granted when it is not agreed upon outside of court. Why is 50-50 not the standard? It took both of us to make the child. Half of everything I own was hers. Half of my money is hers. But yet when it comes to the children, all of a sudden, no. common sense is no longer a common practice. And that blows my mind that as a father who gets up every day and goes to work, that my first message in the morning is to my kids and their last message before they go to bed is to me. Why is it not a standard of 50-50 to start with, and the exception anything else? And that's what this bill is trying to establish. A standard for judges to be able to go by that can end all the litigation, the thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars that most of us don't have to spend, that we're taking from our children to fight to get our children. Why should I have to use my child's college fund so that I can see him when they're 10? It just makes no sense to me. And as someone who has fought for those rights, who has bled for those rights, I will stand for my right to be a father. And I will stand for her right to be a mother. And let's do it equally. Because that's what parenting is. Equal responsibility for the children. And that's how it should be. I appreciate you guys coming out today. Thank you guys.
Thank you, Scott, and thanks for your service.